We are past the bend of the hot times in NFL free agency, and now the Titans' needs differ from a couple weeks back, so it's time for an updated mock draft of senior comments you've been asking for. Well, here we go, because there's a lot of different situations now that I could see the Titans making in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Obviously, the L'Jarius Sneed trade also changes your 7th round pick. But first of all, we appreciate y'all watching here on Titans Today. And if you want more coverage, you want to see me, you want to see your host Jace Andrews, come in and subscribe. Because I'm telling you, we're putting in the work, we're getting better every day, and we're getting more content out to you as soon as humanly possible. So subscribe down there, youtube.com/Titans Today, or scroll down, hit that little subscribe button. I promise you are not going to find better Titans draft coverage than right here on Titans Today. Let's look at the updated draft pick board and kind of see where the Titans stand as of right now. They still got that round 1, number 7 overall pick, and the round 2 pick at number 38, round 4 at pick 106, the round 5 pick from Minnesota, the round 6 and round 7 pick of their own, and then obviously the round 7 pick from Philadelphia and the Kevin Byard exchange, and then the L'Jarius Sneed, where you moved back in the 7th round at pick 252, getting Kansas City's pick. Now, I think we have to consider 4 positions here, mainly in the first 4 or so rounds. Offensive line heavily, I think that's the main one we have to look at, especially in the tackle position. The defensive line I still am not fully comfortable with yet. I think that's an important thing, and that includes edge rushers and linebackers that I would like to see, just because I don't trust that area of the field. Safety is something that I would like depth in. I think I'm a little bit more trustworthy of them than maybe a couple days ago, but I just want to make sure that the depth is fully there. And then wide receiver is something I still feel as though they should get at least one, probably in the later rounds, which you'll see in this draft, which, again, I think these are probably the biggest 4 necessities at this current moment for the Tennessee Titans. I think running back is good with Pollard and Tajay, but hey, we got a bunch of picks here to go figure it out with the Titans, and I guarantee 4 of them will probably be big ones. And honestly, Sneed really helped a lot, because there was a lot of positions of need for the Tennessee Titans, including cornerback. Now, Chidobe Awuzie was a great add at CB, but they needed somebody else. Well, guess what? L'Jarius Sneed is that guy, and this cornerback room I feel like is now, honestly, to a point where I am fully trustworthy of them. As you have L'Jarius Sneed, you have Chidobe Awuzie, and you have Roger McCreary. That's what I like, and I think is a really, really good room. And so with that all being said, at the 7th overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Joe Alt. What a surprise. The offensive tackle from Notre Dame, who honestly is the obvious choice if he is available. I will say this, in the mock drafts that I did in this go-around, there were a couple. Obviously, I try and make sure that they're as accurate as possible. There was one where he was not available, so we do have to consider that possibility going into draft week in a month here. Now, overall, I love Alt. I think he is the pick if he is there at 7. You need a tackle. He fits well. I think you would round out this offensive line in a lot of different assets. 1 sack allowed in 2023, a 90 overall PFF rank, and over 700 snaps, 2 hits, 2 hurries, 2 penalties. This guy was just an absolute unit at left tackle, and that's exactly where he would be used with the Tennessee Titans. Now, if you look over his entire career with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I really like what I've seen from him. 4 sacks allowed his entire career, 36 games. This guy played over thousands of snaps. He is one of these guys that I truly believe you put him at left tackle to start out 2024. He has a legitimate shot of being an all-pro offensive lineman in his first year in the NFL. But will he be there at 7? To me, I think he will be, and that's my pick. But we'll have to wait and see, because there's guys at the top that maybe could change their way. Obviously, 1, 2, and 3, I expect to be QBs with Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jane Daniels somewhere in that order. Marvin Harrison could go 4. But the 2 picks prior to Tennessee is where things get a little tricky with the Giants and, of course, the Chargers. Do they take an offensive lineman? If they don't, I'm taking Alt, and I'm making this offensive line really, really talented. I think this is really a line that I could be proud of. You have Joe Alt at left tackle, Peter Skoronski, 2 of your top guys in the NFL over the past 2 years in terms of draft prospects. At your left side, Lloyd Cushenberry, who set records for contracts as a center, and I think he is going to be a great addition. Daniel Brunskill, who I still have some faith in. Dylan Reduns, well, we'll talk about how we can fix the right side of the line later. But still, I think this is a respectable line and a lot better than what I saw in the last year. Plus, again, he would just fit perfectly overall at left tackle. And again, I know you heard me talk about potentially playing him at guard, and that's what I've heard around the league, that they could potentially move him, but I don't see that happening in legitimate with Brian Callahan being the head coach. I think the one thing that is hard with the Titans, there's such an influx of new coaches, of new faces into this staff. We don't really get to know what's happening on the inside. We don't really get to see what exactly is going on. But if I'm Brian Callahan, I'm starting the offensive tackle at left tackle, and Joe Alt, you're my left side of the line looking really, really nice right now. Let's go to the round 2 pick for the Tennessee Titans, which is an edge rusher in Chris Braswell. Now, he played linebacker a majority of his time at Alabama. I think overall he is just going to be a good fit with the Tennessee Titans. Just losing Azeez Al-Shaair, losing the Nico Autry. You need a edge rushing linebacker type of guy. He fits the mold of this very, very well. 10.5 sacks over his last 2 seasons, 4 forced fumbles, 1 interception, and 62 tackles. Braswell, of course, playing in the SEC, played against some very, very good offensive competition as well. And at a round 2 pick to kind of replace I would say a captain position. I know that it's not really regarded as that with the Titans having Jeffrey Simmons at the defensive line. But if I'm looking at the defense, the guys that I want to hear talking, the guys that I want to make sure are communicating with me are my linebacking core. And Chris Braswell, well, he did a pretty good job of that at Alabama. I think that would be nice. Plus, the defensive line is a struggle bus. And I'm not saying that he can be the guy to come in here and be an edge rusher and play on the line. But it's something to note that if you have a defensive line like you do with Simmons, Coburn, and Joseph Day, it'd be nice to have a linebacker who could potentially be a Micah Parsons guy, where you could put him on the edge every now and then. You could play him at linebacker. You could put him in coverage. He can do a lot of different things. And so that's why I'm probably going to allow him to be that second-round pick. Losing Azeez Al-Shaair, losing the Nico Autry, this is a way where you can kind of replace both those guys in some facet with one person in round 2. I personally like the decision, but we'll have to wait and see. Who would you pick in round 2, though? Is the defensive line not a position you want to see in round 2? Maybe it's wide receiver. Maybe it's safety. Maybe it's one I don't have on the board. Pick a position you'd like to see in round 2 of the 2024 NFL Draft for the Titans. Is it defensive line type DL? Is it wide receiver type WR? Is it safety type S? If it's somebody else at a different position, get down in the comments and let me know. Let's continue on here with our round 4 pick. Obviously, the Titans not having the round 3 pick. They traded that away last year to move up for Will Levis. And then Sione Vaki. He has been really, really talented in a lot of different facets with the Utah Utes. We'll get into why I say that in just a minute. But Titans really need depth at the safety position. I think that's the point that I'm going to point here. Because I trust the starters to an extent. I think Elijah Moan and Amani Hooker are a pretty good 1-2 punch. But they don't have too many people behind them. And this is their entire roster right now. As you're trying to fill up to 90 people, I would like to have, honestly, 5 or 6 safeties on the roster to feel truly comfortable. Sione, guess what? He can do that. He had 8.5 tackles for loss, 51 tackles, 2 sacks. Overall, he was very good with the Utes and what was a pretty challenging Pac-12 this year. I got to be quite honest. And it's last year being an actual conference, it was really, really good. Fun fact of this, though, he didn't just play safety. He actually played a little bit of running back as well with 42 carries, over 300 rushing yards, 11 receptions, and 200 receiving yards, and 5 touchdowns. Listen, in my mind, it's just a cool pick in general. You're telling me in round 4, you're going to get a guy that's going to be a safety depth piece that you could also potentially use on the offensive side of the ball? Sign me up. I'm taking that every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. So that's all I'm saying. I think it's a cool pick. I think it's something that would help the team as well. And hey, I wouldn't mind having a guy who could potentially be a depth option at safety and a depth option at running back. There's a lot of ways they could use him, and I'm excited to see if that pick is made, how Ran Carthon and Brian Callahan put him to work. Now, I do have to welcome back one of our amazing sponsors, Game Time, and I'm telling you what, we got a new discount code for you, as if you use code CHATSPORTS, you can get $20 off your first purchase. And listen, there's a lot of amazing things happening right now. There's March Madness. There's NBA getting into playoff time almost. And of course, baseball season is almost here. And if you're like me, you're tired of all these ticketing apps, trying to go through every single one, finding all these things, and really just it being a frustrating time. I mean, it's really hard to make sure you find the best seats at the best price. Game Time, they do the work for you. It's really easy. And honestly, you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time they're going to give you the peace of mind. They're going to make sure that it's going to be super easy. Their app is super user-friendly. And honestly, it's a great app overall to get your tickets and not be frustrated. It takes a couple taps to get it. And the Nashville Sounds, also great minor league name, first of all. Second of all, they got a couple games coming up. Obviously, baseball starting soon. I know there's not a MLB team relatively close, and hey, this is pretty dang good. It's a really nice stadium as well, so go check it out. Again, using code CHATSPORTS, you're going to get $20 off your first purchase. And hey, with a minor league game, that might be the whole ticket for at least one person. So make sure you go and check it out, because take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS. ChatSports, no spaces, for $20 off. You can download Game Time today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. Let's go to round 5 here in my mock draft 3.0 for the Titans, and I finally go an official defensive lineman, and Khristian Boyd out of the University of Northern Iowa. And I truly think this is a steal at round 5. I know that, again, his competition level is not to the level of an SEC, of a Big 12 even. But I still feel like stats in PFF rank don't lie. 3 sacks, 9 hits, 28 hurries, 1 pass breakup is all pretty solid. But again, when I get into the later rounds, I'm looking more at PFF rank, because I feel like that gives you the true measure of a player, especially in college, because there's so many different levels of competition. Whereas in the NFL, you know every single day you're going against the top guys at their position. Well, Khristian Boyd has a pretty nice PFF rank. I am going to double dip on the D line just slightly. Obviously, I know Braswell can be a linebacker, edge rusher kind of guy, so I have to figure out what exactly extent they would use him in Tennessee. But I think the interior defensive line, Keandre Coburn is not a starter in my opinion, but right now he is the guy. So I'm hoping to not have him there by the start of 2024. All right, let's go to the back 4 picks here of this Titans mock draft. I'm going to get a tight end at round 6, pick 182. And I know what you're thinking. I thought we were off this whole tight end thing after Brock Bowers is not going to be taken in round 1. Well, yeah, but A.J. Barner is honestly a pretty good pick, and I want to increase this tight end room. Chiggy is great. Okonkwo, I feel like he is a really, really solid tight end 1. Josh Wiley, honestly, underrated guy for being a tight end 2. I saw some really positive things out of him in the 2023 season. But A.J. Barner being here at this level of the draft at round 6 is a pretty nice steal. Played with Indiana throughout his 2022 and 2021 year, having 1 touchdown and 3 touchdowns with them. And then, of course, transferred to Michigan, became a national champion, where he had 1 touchdown, 22 receptions, 249 yards. And a big thing with him, he can block and he can catch. And so this kind of would allow Chiggy to, in some ways, have a backbone with a blocker, because Josh Wiley is specifically, in my mind, a pass-catching tight end. Maybe we have a switch in the way we saw him, just because, again, was his first year last year. But Barner can do a lot of different things. I think he would fit well on this Titans tight end depth chart. And then one of the last bigger picks I'm going to make is the first one we have in round 7, Dominic Lovett. And I know what you're saying, Jace, I thought we needed more wide receivers. Why are we picking one in round 7? I agree. I just think in this type of mock draft, other picks made more sense. And this one made perfect sense. This guy played great this past year at Georgia. 600 yards, 11.4 average, 4 touchdowns, 54 receptions. Listen, I'm taking a guy who was in the SEC championship game at round 7. I think this is a solid late-round wide receiver, if you're asking me. I think overall he could potentially be one of the type of guys that we could see on the roster. I mean, this wide receiver depth chart is not filled to the brim just yet. There's not too many great wide receivers out there to go sign. Lovett, I think it would be a pretty nice fit, if you ask me. And then we're going to kind of go through these last 2 real quickly. Tyler Owens, the safety out of Texas Tech, is the 242 pick for me. And then another Big 12 guy, Khalid Duke, the edge rusher out of Kansas State, is the number 252 pick. You're probably looking at 2 practice squad guys there, but again, you're looking at positions that you probably need help at. Edge rusher / linebacker, something you certainly need to have. And then on top of which, safety, again, like I said, I'd like to have 6 to 5 or 6 safeties on roster. You have 4 right now. You got 90 men. Go out there and put out there. You can put them on the practice squad after the fact. So that's just the way I'm looking at it. I still think they'll probably end up on the practice squad, but overall, the look of this entire draft, I'm curious to see, how would you grade it? You giving me an A for Joel, Braswell, Sione right there. I got an A- from PFF. So what are y'all thinking for my entirety of the draft here? Alt, Braswell, Sione, Khristian Boyd, AJ, Dominic Lovett, Tyler Owens, and Khalid Duke. What are we grading it? Well, that's your time to grade it. I want you to grade it 3.0, A, B, C, D, or F, or should I be taken off the show and give me an F-? I don't know. No. Get down in the comment section, let me know. Hopefully I'm looking for an A or B, but you're not going to hurt my feelings if it's bad. If it is bad, let me know why. Why don't you like it? I mean, PFF obviously seemed to like the moves that I made, so let me know down in the comment section why you liked or didn't like it. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, guys. We're putting out some content every single day, and we're really trying to amp it up here as we get closer to the draft, so you see it flashing down there, youtube.com/Titans Today. Put that in, hit that subscribe button. You're not going to regret it. For now, Titans fans, tighten up, and peace out.